Towards the late 1700s, one-third of the slave plantations in Jamaica were owned and operated by Scottish slave masters. These guys lynched, tortured, murdered, and raped our ancestors. But this hasn't stopped some Jamaicans today from proudly acknowledging that these wicked people are a part of them.
I am of West African descent, yes, but I'm also of Scottish descent.
With the Scottish,
Hello everyone, welcome to Auntie Ami channel. How are you? How are you doing? Today we are going to talk about the connection between Jamaicans and Scottish people, especially about the surnames. Auntie Ami, what do you mean about the surnames? There is indeed connection and there is history about it, because some of you are going to ask me, Auntie Ami, I thought Jamaicans came from West and Central Africa. That's where their roots are. Why is it that they are using English or Scottish surnames? There is an answer to that, because some of you learned history about slave trade, but at the end of the day they taught us that some of the slave masters used to force their slaves to use their names just for protection, identity. But at the end of the day, also it was the way of identifying your slaves. Hey, Auntie Ami, do you think you know better? No. Let's listen to some of Jamaicans who are aware of this, because these colonial powers, they did not just leave us to mind our own business, but they managed to change a lot. And now they are explaining to us about what really happened. And all this is about might be denying us that identity. Is it true that some Jamaicans have got roots in Scotland? Listen and listen carefully to some of the videos, and after that I'll try to share with you my own sources. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share. Thank you to all my subscribers, both returning and new subscribers. Let's listen carefully.
This is why Scottish people sound like Jamaicans. The Scottish and Irish were enslaved. They actually helped to build New York City and a lot of America. Those Scottish slaves traveled to America as well as the Caribbean. And this is why today in Jamaica, the Jamaicans be sounding like this. And before, Jamaicans were actually speaking Spanish. But in the 1700s, these Irish, Scottish, indentured servants or slaves were sent either to America or to the Caribbean, also as well. That includes Jamaica. This is why you have the white Jamaicans. If you go to Jamaica, you'll be thinking that the man is from Scotland. They'll tell you, me just a white Jamaican. Me not lame man. But when you start to go to Jamaica and you see there's black and white Jamaicans, even though black and white equals a social construct, because the term race did not exist until after the 1500s, they used this term to split and divide us from each other. Instead of looking at the love that we're supposed to have for each other, we are too busy looking at the skin color. One of the largest lies ever told to mankind. Black and white is not a race, because Israel is represented by Joseph's coat of many colors. That's right, the rainbow. They stole that one too, and they gave it to the LGBTQZ community. And really, it goes back to the rainbow, the Noahide covenant. But we have to learn the story of Joseph and why Joseph's brothers, even though they were Hebrews, did not want Joseph to succeed. This is a parable for us today, even though other people are family members. They don't always want us to succeed or to excel in the truth. And this is what the powers to be, that's what they want for you. They don't want you to know that you as a Jamaican be related to the Scottish and the Irishman. Because then that would actually create, oh, Lord forbid, community. Because when we start to unite, we start to unite. And unity, community, is the last thing that they want. It's also why we ended up making y'all the Health Bible. Everything that you need to know just about is going to be available at jacobslink.com. Also, go ahead and get you some handcrafted honey.
What's going on, people? This video is going to explore the colonial impact of Scotland on Jamaica. Here's that story. Outside of Scotland, Jamaica has the highest percentage of Scottish surnames. It's estimated that 60% of surnames in the Jamaica telephone directory are of Scottish origin. So pick up my Andersons, Campbells, Millers, Malcolms, Grants, Gordons, and many more. It's even believed that there are more Campbells per square acre in Jamaica than Scotland. Have a look at their national flags. Notice anything? They're the only two national flags to include the saltire, i.e. the St. Andrew's Cross. Here's that story. Historically, the J flag looked like this. In 1962, as the time of independence approached, an initial design for the flag with 3 vertical stripes was deemed unsatisfactory. One oral story goes that Scottish minister Reverend William Magee, who had become a friend of the then Prime Minister, suggested that the national flag should reflect Jamaica's status as a Christian country and have a cross on it. Legend has it he drew out the Scottish flag substituting the blue and white of Scotland with...
So recently, thanks to 23andMe, I found out that I have relatives in Jamaica. And I'm like the least Jamaican looking person in the world, so I decided to look into the links between Scotland and Jamaica. So the first dates from 1656, when Oliver Cromwell banished 1,200 Scots to Jamaica. The English had a colony there. And the Scottish immigrants generally took up posts as servants to the English. And criminals were also exiled there. And later on in the 17th century, some people who had gone to colonise the Darien jungle, which I've done a video on, also arrived in Jamaica. The first wave of Scots to the island were sold as servants to the English. And interestingly, Campbell is the most common surname on Jamaica. And it's thought the first Campbell on the island was Colonel John Campbell. He had also been on the failed Darien jungle mission. And he decided to settle in Jamaica and set up a sugar plantation. During the 18th and 19th centuries, a lot of sugar plantation owners and overseers were Scottish. Not quite so good a link. And Glasgow was a large importer of slave-produced sugar. And by the early 19th century, over half of Scotland's linen was sent to the Caribbean to clothe the slaves and the owners. So my relatives might have been servants or criminals or people who were involved in slavery. But it's important to remember these things did happen.
As you've heard, this is what really happened. That's why you can see a lot of Jamaicans have Scottish, Irish, English, some even Portuguese surnames. But today we are going to connect Scottish and Jamaicans. What is it all about? Jamaica colonial history under the British rule, especially during 18th century to 19th century. We are going to even talk about things like Scottish plantation owners, overseas. Large numbers of Scots migrated to Jamaica at that time just because of colonialism. And I think it would take even back to that time of slavery, of slave trade. What are they saying in details? Let's try to listen as we subscribe, like, comment, and share. This is very interesting to get to know all this information. So, the connection between some Jamaican surnames and Scottish names comes from Jamaican's colonial history, as I said before, under British rule, especially during the 18th to 19th century. Scottish plantation owners and overseers. Large numbers of Scots migrated to Jamaica and became plantation owners, overseers, merchants, and soldiers. Enslaved Africans and later freed people were often given or adopted the surnames of these Scottish owners and officials. This is why many Jamaicans today carry distinctly Scottish names. Enslavement and naming practices. During slavery, Africans were stripped of their original surnames or identities and assigned European names. After emancipation in 1838, many formerly enslaved people kept these surnames as legal identities. Oh my God, they tried really hard to change everything about our forefathers. Scottish military presence. Scottish regiments stationed in Jamaica contributed further to the spread of Scottish names, sometimes through intermarriages. That is normal, it's even happening now all over the world, or informal unions. Post-emancipation adoption. Some free Jamaicans chose Scottish surnames because they were associated with power, land ownership, or social mobility. Common Jamaican Scottish names are Campbell is on top, Stewart, Mackenzie, Fraser, Douglas, Graham, Gordon, Grant, Hamilton. Cultural legacy. This Scottish influence can still be seen in Jamaican family names, place names, architecture, traditional music. Some links between Scottish fiddle styles and Jamaican folk music. In summary, some Jamaican surnames are Scottish because Scots played a major role in Jamaica's colonial economy, and their names were passed down through slavery, employment, and social interaction, forming part of Jamaica's complex historical identity. Let's look on how Scottish heritage shaped Jamaica culture, identity, and even DNA. As we continue to subscribe, like, comment, and share, my people, this is reality. And I love history. I love getting to know deeper and deeper about Jamaica. It's not only Jamaica, but most of the Caribbean countries. And I'm coming there. After this, I have to dig further. Other Caribbean countries. I need to know more about their history. Because don't forget, we are brothers and sisters. They divided us. That's why now some of us we cannot even accept, because history is not taught in details. Music and instruments. Scottish settlers brought fiddle music and folk melodies. This influenced Jamaica mento, a precursor to reggae. Rural folk tradition, especially in the interior parishes of Jamaica. Some rhythmic phrasing and call and responses, style blending African roots with European folk sounds. Language and expressions. Scottish dialect and English contributed to Jamaican patois. Certain pronunciations and speech patterns in rural Jamaica reflect this mix. Dress and traditions. In the 18th to 19th century, some plantation owners introduced tartan styles and Scottish customs. While these didn't become mainstream, elements survived in ceremonial or family traditions. DNA and ancestry, the Creole mix. Modern DNA testing frequently shows that many Jamaicans have predominantly West and Central African ancestry, with smaller percentage of Scottish, British, or Irish, or Spanish, or Portuguese. This reflects forced unions during slavery, intermarriage post-emancipation, migration patterns. It's not uncommon of Jamaicans with surnames like Mackenzie or Campbell to find measurable Scottish ancestry in ancestry tests. Identity and social history. After emancipation, 1838, what really happened? Many freed Jamaicans kept Scottish surnames because they were already legally registered. Changing them was difficult. They provided social legitimacy in colonial society. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share. This is very interesting. Don't forget to support your love. Thanks so much to all my subscribers, both returning and new subscribers, for your love. Subscribe, and show us some love. Over time, these names became fully Jamaican, detached from their original colonial power. Over time, these surnames are symbols of survival, cultural branding, complex identity, a reminder to both oppression and resilience. Names, place names in Jamaica with Scottish roots. Examples include Aberdeen, Dundee, Inverness, and Gregory. These were names by Scottish settlers trying to recreate pieces of home. The psychological and generation impact. For some Jamaicans, discovering Scottish roots can be confusing. I agree with that. Empowering, painful, enlightening. It often sparks questions about, who am I really? Am I Jamaican or half Scottish? Or else, why are they saying that my roots are in Africa. It is really confusing. Where did my ancestors really come from? As I said, what parts of my heritage were chosen and which were forced? That's truly. But at the end of the day, I believe both sides there was enforcement. Because at the end of the day, even in Africa, it was the same thing. As they always say, we Africans, we sold our own brothers and sisters. Do you agree on that? Anyway, this was force. It really happened because of force. I don't think those our forefathers had power more than these people. These colonies had everything to defend themselves. They had power. That's why it happened like that. Might be some of us, we don't really know. That time our forefathers did not have guns, did not have all these weapons. Now, they were protecting themselves with just the arrows. So you can see how hard it was. This is why genealogy has become so important in Jamaica diaspora communities. Modern reconnection. Let's see about modern reconnection. What is it all about? Some Jamaican families are now tracing ancestry through Scotland, reconnecting with clans. I know those clans, they mark Lord, they mark this, they mark this. I think 3-4 years ago, I was in Scotland on a tour, 10-day tour. We came across those clans. Scottish people, they are very, very good with remembering their clans, where they came from. And they still worship that. They will never forget. You go there, you see tombs and all labeled. Those ancient villages in Scotland are still existing. I saw it with my naked eyes, with my glasses on. Visiting ancestral estates, participating in diaspora heritage programs. This creates a reclaiming of history rather than accepting the colonial narratives. In simple terms, Scottish surnames in Jamaica are not just about names, they are evidence of deep, complicated intertwining of African survival and European colonial influences that shaped modern Jamaican identity. This is reality. I'll play one short video, a speech by the former Prime Minister Jeremy Corbyn of UK, or not UK, of Britain, who even expressed his worry about, his concern about how Britain is treating Jamaicans, especially Jamaicans. Britain is owing Jamaica a lot. That was very interesting. I wanted to send it as a short because I was very impressed. My people, they know what they did, but they still treat us differently. Because it's true, Britain owes Jamaica a lot. There is no need for Britain to be asking Jamaicans to struggle when applying for visa. There is no need for Jamaicans to suffer because Britain owns Jamaica a lot. Let's listen as we subscribe, like, comment, and share. What are you saying? Are you in agreement with Jeremy Corbyn? Maybe you are not in agreement, but at the end of the day, don't think that it's each and every British out there who doesn't know the truth. They know the truth. Listen carefully. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share. Watch this video from the beginning until the end. Don't forget to shower your auntie with subscription. We are going to investigate more and more and more, as I said, because I love knowing much about our history. Thank you to all my subscribers, both returning and new subscribers, for your love. Continue to shower your auntie with some love as you comment, as you share, as you subscribe, as you like the video. Ciao, ciao, bye. Mwah.
Africa belongs to me. Africa belongs to me. Africa belongs to me. I am the African queen from the motherland Africa. Is in me. Africa belongs to me. Africa belongs to me. Africa belongs to me. I am the African queen from the motherland Africa. Is in me.
Yummy TV, the best show ever. We expose and we tell as it is. No fear, no bias whatsoever. Just the way